Day 133. I don't know why it looked dark, but fuck it. Let's keep it rolling. All right. My bad, y'all. Shit. Shit did this before I even started. But the topic. Let me set this all up. If you're watching this on replay, just skip ahead a little bit. Maybe I start at like the 1 minute 30 mark. My bad. All right. All right, here we go. Let me put the title in there. There we go. Did it show? Fuck. Wow. Never love her more than she loves you. Fellas. What do I mean by that? I'm gonna show y'all a video real quick.
A lot of the problems that men have with their wives is fundamentally based on the fact that he's not her first choice. And the woman, on some level, doesn't accept that she couldn't win the more attractive man. She thinks that she's settling with the man that she got, but if she could do better, she would have. And there's like this memory of being with other types of men, or a fantasy that will never be fulfilled, that causes some measure of resentment. That if the woman is uninsightful, she can use that against her own husband or her own boyfriend, as if he were responsible for catering to her fantasies and expectations.
That is something that is unfortunate, because a lot of guys don't realize that they're in that scenario, or they may not understand that, attraction works in that way, and they wonder what's wrong.
A lot of the problems that men have with their wives is fundamentally based on the fact that he's not her first choice. And the woman, on some level, doesn't accept that she couldn't win the more attractive man. She thinks that she's settling with the man that she got, but if she could do...
My bad, y'all. I have got a phone call, but I'm gonna play it again so I could talk about something
better, she would have. And there's like this memory of...
So that's one thing. A lot of people do think that they could do better, and it's unfortunate. This is what I was talking about the other day, when I was like, you got to kind of know where you rank. This goes for men too, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, it's seen more with women. But you got to know where you at. You know what I mean? Because you can't do better. Because if you could, you would. It's just like people who say, "Oh, I deserve more money." Do you? Because if you did, you would have had it. But you don't really deserve it because you ain't putting in the work to get it. So it is what it is. And as far as what he was saying, some other stuff. Hold on.
Being with other types of men, or a fantasy that will never be fulfilled, that causes some measure of resentment.
So being with other men, he was saying, I don't know if he was referring to just her sleeping with other men, or if he was just like the thought process of being with other guys. But if sleeping with a bunch and experience a bunch of men, sometimes you'll hear women say, "Oh, you got to get out there, you got to have fun a little bit." Well, that causes a problem, and I spoke on that before. Even for men, you know what I mean. We are men by nature, just in all males, in animal kingdom and everything. We just want to sleep around. But the thing about women is they will hold on to certain men and want traits of every single man, and feel like, oh, I gotta have a little bit of this, I gotta have a little bit of that. And the more she sleeps with people and experience intimacy with them, she connects with them, and it's gonna be a little bit harder to find someone, because she will also equate sleeping with that man that might fit her standard. Actually, I'm gonna keep this. Yeah, I'll keep it right here. The man that she really feels is super attractive, she might think that that's what she can get. Like, I can get that because I experienced that sexually, even if it was a situationship, even if it was a relationship. And that doesn't always mean that's the case. Sometimes men will sleep with a woman, and it's just that he just wants sex, and she's willing to give it to him, and maybe she might not be a headache, so she's thinking, oh, this is the quality of man that I can get. No, this is the quality of man that you can sleep with. Until dudes are proposing and marrying you, which you should only be married once, hopefully, then that's not the quality of man that you can get. A lot of times men that date down as far as looks is because we feel it's easier. Shooting up is harder, though we might be more attracted to the other one. It's harder. And if I feel like, yo, I can get with this person and I won't have that much of a headache. But what happens is, over time, women start developing this self overinflated ego, and thinking that they're worth more because she's a 5 and she's fucking 7s, right? Just throwing numbers out there because it makes it easier. But it don't mean that those 7s or 8s are willing to marry you. You know what I mean? Don't mean that they're willing to spend the rest of their life with you. So back to this video, because some other things I want to speak on.
That if the woman is uninsightful, she can use that against her own husband or her own boyfriend, as if he were responsible for catering to her fantasies and expectations.
That is something that is unfortunate, because a lot of guys don't realize that they're in that scenario, or they may not understand that, attraction works in that way, and they wonder what's wrong.
A lot of the
if you're dating down, if you're with a woman who, this is the thing, they say to men, and they say this to women too, but they say to men, you should be with a woman who wants you more than you want her. And it's because women get more bored and, all of these different things, right? But then you have the flip side, where women say the same thing. The thing about women is this: dating a guy who wants you more than you want him, who loves you more, a lot of times you don't feel like that he's the number one option. Like he's the guy you settle for. You're not really super you're not excited as much about him. You know what I mean? Which means that typically you get bored. Typically you're not as attracted. If you're not as attracted, maybe sex is not as good. Then you have sexual frustration. Then you do all of these different things. The reason why for ladies that is said is because when you typically find the guy who doesn't love you as much as you love him, the problem is you're usually finding a dirtbag. That's why it doesn't work. If you think as a lady, the man should love me more than I love him, you're not going to be that attracted to him, and you're not going to respect him. But if it's flip, what happens is y'all choosing a guy that is a dirtbag, that shows you he's not even capable of loving a person properly, not from an emotional standpoint, but he doesn't know how to show love properly. The dude just has a bunch of red flags, and you don't look at that. You know what I mean? A woman could love me more but I still know how to love a woman. You feel what I'm saying? I know how to treat her, to make her feel good, to make her feel special, feel wanted, and all of these different things. And she could still love me more than I love her. And for the people to say, why y'all can't just love each other the same? Because it's not possible. One is it really truly can't be measured. But it just doesn't work that way. It's not even. It's never even. There's always somebody that's gonna love somebody more, even in friendships, right? Even in parent and child relationships. Either you gonna love your parents more than they love you, or your parents are gonna love you more than. But it's never even. Even if it's close, it's still never even. Nothing is ever truly even when it comes to who loves who more. You feel what I'm saying? So in a relationship, if that woman doesn't love that man more, she's just gonna get tired of him. It's typically her settling. Tell me where I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, tell me the relationship that the man you knew he loved you more than you loved him, and yet it still just worked out perfectly. Not even perfectly, because that's a stretch, but it really worked out. You know what I mean? And you were truly happy, not you just there, but that you was happy that you didn't settle for that guy. Or if it's your grandparents, well, you can't even use them because they what happened, but they're not gonna tell you the truth anyways. But like that, you didn't feel like you settled. You felt like, yo, this is the guy that I really wanted. You know what I mean? So a man could still find a woman he really wants. Like, yo, I really want this woman, and still she can love him more than he loves her, right? Or she should be head over heels. Like she should get excited when she see you on a regular basis. If she's not, you got to keep it moving because it's not going to work. Let me read some of these comments. Interested to know people talking about here. First of all, say what's up if you watching live. Let's see who's in the chat. If she doesn't have a burning desire for you, never marry her. My bad, y'all. My bad. Yeah, I would say that's true. If she don't have a burning desire for you, never marry her because she's just gonna get bored. She's not gonna be happy. Marry the woman who cannot live without you. The question is, does this happen more with women who have higher body count versus lower body count? They destroy their ability to pair bond with every guy they sleep with. A girl left me for her better choice the next day, then still wanted to stay friends. She wanted me as a backup option, and I refused. Blocked her and don't interact with her at all. Yeah, that's how it be. You know, and men can do the same thing. So this is not a one-way street. But like I said, if you love the guy more, just make sure that you're loving a good guy. But the problem is most of the time the guys you love more are never good guys. Really think about it. Think about the guys that you love more, right? Is this the guy you really wanted most of the time? Yes, it's the guy you really wanted. But is he does he have the most ideal characteristic traits and morals and all of that stuff? Probably not. And you've seen the red flags, but you chose to ignore them because he just did something to you. You know what I mean? But it's very rare. It happens though. The woman could find a guy that she loves more, and he is of good character. And he does do something to her. And those usually work out longer. Those relationships last a lot longer. Sometimes people can still blow it for different reasons, but that happens. My marriage wasn't great from the start, but when my wife went to business school for her MBA, she started not liking me. I wasn't ambitious enough. I was smart. I was going to college for a degree, but not one she respected. It was a downward spiral from there. 2 young kids, divorce, foreclosure. My grandmother had a saying: the spouse of the student is never the spouse of the graduate. I didn't know this saying until I became, until I got divorced. I wish I would have known that shit though. But the spouse of the student is never the spouse of the graduate. My grandmother was a very smart, wise woman, not just from that, but like really holistic, healed a lot of people in the neighborhood, everything. She was just amazing, amazing woman. But yeah, that woman went to go get her MBA. She was around other men who were more ambitious, was talking more business, was in her field, and she got more attracted to those men. And it was a downward spiral. She no longer, desired him as much, just from simply being around other men. So she didn't desire her man that much. It wasn't just the schooling thing. It was being around the other guys. Just another reason why men shouldn't get married. You'll never be her first choice. She'll always have doubts and looking for someone else. I don't believe that to be true. I don't think that you'll never be her first. I mean, technically, no one is really ever anyone's first choice. Technically, everybody is really settling. You know what I'm saying? It's just how much you settle in, realistically. Because my first choice was prime Beyonce. Actually, who was my first crush? I don't even know, but it was prime Beyonce, right? Her prime. When she got with Jay, I lost attraction for her. But that would be my first choice, right? But obviously, I'm not on her level, so I ain't getting her. I wasn't gonna ever get her. But yeah, realistically, you just gotta look inside your tier group, inside your peer group, tier level, everything, and your first choice there. You know what I'm saying? Don't be thinking about the celebrity person, because that shit doesn't fucking matter. Let me see what y'all saying in the comments. Hey, okay, he's like, hey, I'm in here now. What's good? So the topic is talking about, should a man love a woman more, basically, or should the woman love the man more for the relationship to work? And no, it cannot be even. Somebody gotta love somebody more, because it's just how it is. So what do you think? As a man, I've learned that unfortunately this is true, and you also have to remind yourself that she wasn't your first choice either. All right, so let me see. Exactly. Always prefer the woman whose first choice you are. No man has up to a handful of such a woman throughout his life. If you miss it with yours, you'll be settling for whomever it is. She is you. Well, I don't even know. This person typo got mad typos. Blow this shit up. Yo, what's good, Mr. Maid? So at the end of the day, I'm gonna pose the question: should a man love a woman more than she loves him, or should she love him more? Answer that question for me, if you don't mind. I think personally, the woman should love the man more. That way she'll always feel like engaged and just have that desire, that burning desire for him. All right, I'm gonna shut this down. I already spoke on this 20 minutes. Yeah, I ain't respond fast enough. Next video. Watch I respond right as I'm cutting this shit off too. Peace.